Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Podcast Village here on Total Pebble Knockdown. I am Nathan.
And I am Alex, and we are inside my home.
That
is, I have no furniture.
Yep.
One could say the entire place is transitional.
Yeah.
Liminal, perhaps.
It is. It's almost a liminal space. This should have just been our a game that we did for a Let's Play. Just explore Alex's house in this Minecraft. There should be a Minecraft one that just does that. I'm sure there is. Probably 700.
Yeah. If you wanted to, there are several Minecraft liminal space / backroom mods I know of.
I'm sure.
That are pretty intense.
Yeah.
So.
I'm gonna say maybe no. I think I kind of like the idea of liminal space games that are actually purpose-built to be liminal space games.
Some of them are. I'm gonna be real. Some of them are actually really good.
Oh, sure. I understand. Do you have basements under here? Oh, wow.
I think these are like stables or something.
Oh, okay.
And a tower.
First time I think I've seen that in one of these house designs, so that's cool. We are here. This is the first podcast episode that we've done for the beginning of the year. And so there's a few things that we usually talk about at the beginning of the year, and I think that we're going to do it on this episode. So I hope everybody's having a good start to 2026. It was jam-packed 2025. And so one of the things that we usually talk about is a little bit about like our recap of what we did this last year for Steam Replay. Now, I should say that, we're going to be able to look at like our Steam Replay stats, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I did play on a lot of other platforms too. I don't know about Alex.
I didn't play on a lot of other ones, but
okay, yeah, because like I play sometimes on Xbox for some Game Pass things, but also I do have a GOG account. Sometimes I'll play on Epic, so sans any of those things, we're gonna go with Steam, mostly because Steam has a really well laid out replay piece.
It does,
which is very, very helpful. So, Alex, I'm gonna ask, what's your number for number of games played on Steam?
Total number of games on. My number of games played is down 14 fewer from last year, but I played 54.
Interestingly enough, I am also down 14 from last year, and my number is 44. So you were playing more games on Steam anyway, which makes sense because, again, you do play mostly exclusively on Steam.
More or less, yeah.
How many achievements?
Oh, I unlocked 147.
You unlocked
16 of them were rare.
16 of them were rare, huh? Ooh.
Yes.
Okay. I got you on this one though. I hate to tell you this, but I did kind of gank you on this one. I had 413 achievements unlocked, which is actually a lot lower than last year. 444 fewer than last year. That's in 34 games. And I have 50 rare achievements.
Heck.
50.
It's all from Blueprints, isn't it?
No, that was on Xbox. I played that on Game Pass. So Blueprints actually does not factor in at all to these totals. Yeah, Blueprints would have ended up being one of those games that I ended up spending a lot of time in. Actually, that one, and I think probably Ball X Pit, which also wouldn't be in my Steam library. And I spent a lot of time in that and got most of the achievements. But I'd have to look at what the actual rare achievements were. But I think a lot of them might have been from like those liminal space games that we played, because we finished a lot of those. So some of them might just be considered rare. This is an interesting stat that they give me, but apparently 56% of the games that I played with a keyboard and mouse, and 44 with a controller.
Oh.
So
that's interesting. I don't know where you found that.
Oh, so that's the stat that comes in right after the achievements unlocked.
Not for me.
Oh, what does yours say?
Mine's got my longest streak of 21 days.
Your longest streak of 21 days. Oh, okay. Okay. You probably don't really play with a controller anyway.
Not as much. I play with controller in games that make sense, like driving games and whatnot.
Yeah. There's just a lot of games where if it's like an exploration or more of a platformy kind of game, or even, especially for like Souls-likes and Metroidvanias and stuff, I find that a controller is just more convenient. It feels better to play games that way. But for things like what I'm doing right now with Minecraft, where you want to be able to have more precision control over your reticle and everything, mouse and keyboard makes more sense. It also lists, apparently, the three games that account for the majority of my playtime underneath this. I don't know if that's what it's showing for you.
So let's do this. So the comparison here.
Yep.
Where it's got, for me, it says I unlocked 147 achievements. Steam median is 11 achievements.
Well, I guess we both beat that, didn't we?
We definitely.
By a lot.
54 games was what I played. The Steam median is 4, so we both beat that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
My longest streak of 21 days, Steam median is 6 days.
My longest streak was 25.
Okay.
My longest streak was 25. That makes sense, because usually when I get on a game, or I'm playing around with stuff on Steam, I'll like try to knock a bunch of things off at the same time. This is going to be interesting. I want to know if you know what I would have as my most played game on Steam.
Probably Coral Island.
In most years, it probably would be. I didn't play much of Coral Island this year. Although I really should go back to do it, because they've done continuous updates on that game. I was an alpha backer on that. I was I know. Yeah, we're all fully aware. But what I've been really impressed with is that they really have not stopped on development and expansion of that game. If you're gonna play something that's Stardew Valley that's not actually Stardew Valley, yeah, Coral Island's a great example of it. But, no, actually, I don't believe in my top 3 games that account for my playtime on Steam, none of them are like a life sim.
Really?
Not a single one of those. No.
I'm curious. Do we want to do our most played games? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah. Do you want to do third to first? That would be fun.
Yeah, we can do it that way.
Okay. So, my number 3, accounting for 6% of my playtime, is Above Snakes.
Oh,
which
I do remember you played that.
Yeah, which is interesting, because it didn't feel like I played it all that much, but I guess I did kind of get into it when I was playing it. For people who don't know, Above Snakes is like a survival crafting game, but it has this really interesting system where it lets you lay out tiles of the world to build the world. So it's kind of like a little tile laying game, and then you find these specific tiles that go through the story of like the dead coming back from the grave and figuring out if there's a curse on this land and everything. Really interesting game, really interesting game. And so I guess that's why I played it, because I played it to the end. I played it straight through to the end. So it's fairly lengthy once you get into that. A lot of interesting biomes to speak of that have a Wild Westy feel to them. So yeah, that was a good one. What was your number 3?
My number 3 was actually Where Winds Meet. I played 8% of my playtime in that. And I did 28 sessions of it before I decided, I don't think this is for me.
I tried Where Winds Meet, and I played for a couple hours, and I didn't gel with it very well. The thing about MMO-ish kind of like games like that is that it bogs me down in like stats and screens. Where it just feels like there's a lot of things that I'm supposed to keep track of, and I just didn't want to do that. But I think what I was impressed by, though, is that they literally just made this free game that actually felt like a, top-tier game that, was fleshed out and had a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah, I think the combat was okay, but, like, once you got into the weeds of it, it was, like, not my type of game.
Yeah.
And I didn't care about the story at all. Like, that didn't grab me in the slightest.
Yeah.
So...
The exploration elements, I think, were the best part of that. Just being able to go off on your own. Do whatever.
Yeah, I think the setting and everything was fine, but...
Yeah. It also has this thing that is just... I guess it's a pet peeve of mine. I don't know how you feel about it, but... the curse of very large numbers was something that it seemed to have, like, all over the place. Because, like, every time I'd be like, oh, how much damage do I do? How much health do I have? It's like thousands and thousands that it's listed at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just, the numbers don't have to be this high when I'm looking at stats, and the upgrades only, like, increase just a little bit, and the numbers are gigantic, so it felt like it didn't really matter much for me to do any of that, so I don't like it when the numbers get super high like that.
Yeah, it can be whatever. What was your second game?
Oh, this is a throwback. Apparently, I had nostalgia again to play this. It is one that we actually did on one of our live episodes, and
God, it was Dark Souls, wasn't it?
No. It was Mad Max. It was Mad Max.
Oh.
With 7% of my playtimes, 11 sessions. Above Snakes was 18, by the way, but 11 sessions, Mad Max. I played Mad Max to the end again. I was like, oh yeah, I remember. I remember playing this. For the first time since it originally came out, I yet again finished Mad Max.
Yeah, I tried it, but I kind of fell off.
I appreciate that you tried it, but I'm not really surprised that you didn't dig it. Because it didn't really feel like your kind of a game. For me, especially the car part of it, where you're doing like the car combat, and it did I just thought it did such a really good job of, like, making it feel like a post-apocalyptic open world that had stuff to actually do in it. I've seen some of the Mad Max movies and everything, and I was like, yeah, this is good for me. For me, this works.
My number 2 was Icarus, which we also played on stream, which you also tried.
I did. I have not played it since then. Because
shameful display.
Because I wasn't I was like, oh, I could continue. Maybe I could continue just trying to play on my own, but we were kind of like doing stuff. Maybe I should just try to play some on my own and just see what it's like as a single player experience. I just really haven't gone back to it since. But it's got interesting things.
I think you should try it, just like some of the missions and then whatnot, because you can do the upgrades too. So
sure.
I mean, you did kind of try it anyway, so it's not a big deal. But like, I think the structure of that is really
sure
where that shines.
Yeah.
As far as like a game like that goes.
Oh yeah. In some ways, I think it fixes one of the problem. Maybe in some ways it fixes and creates a problem that I occasionally had with survival crafting games. I'll explain that. The problem that you occasionally have with survival crafting games is that you do the initial crafting portions, and then you just keep going on, and it gets more and more of a slog to do upgrades past that. And the thing that Icarus does is say, well, these are shorter pieces, so you're supposed to keep going back and doing the basic survival crafting that's faster. And the problem that it kind of creates, though, is that if you didn't like the idea of continuously setting back up and doing the crafting over and over again, it is going to make you do that, but you'll get some upgrades that help with that. So,
yeah. And it doesn't always make you do that. You can do like a permanent world.
Oh yeah.
Where you can just do missions there as well.
Oh, okay.
But the operations give you nice rewards too to do them, and they're usually shorter term.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, I guess I didn't really get to that part, but...
So the operations are like what we did for the missions kind of structure, but you can do like the other one where it's just an open world, normal open world game where you can do whatever, but you can just build a thing to take what are simple missions, and you can just do those, and then you get rewards and points and levels and skills and
cool.
all the stuff.
Nice.
So
nice.
It blends both the open world survival crafting with the being able to do mission based and not necessarily be like, I just kind of want to do this one operation and then it's done, and then you have rewards.
Yeah.
And you can continue with doing something else. So you get the short term and the long term.
Yeah, that's the thing I really wanted to dig into, is getting the rewards and seeing how you can start more like runs with like upgrades and updates, and see if that helps with the speed of early game. Because that's something that a lot of survival crafting games have trouble with, is that the early game can occasionally feel a little monotonous and tedious, and then it has to expand out. So I was like, but if they solve that by continuously making the early game simpler and faster and everything with upgrades, that would be an interesting thing to see. It was an interesting concept. I just really hadn't dug into it past that.
Yeah. That's why, like, where you were doing stuff, Ray and I were setting up things where we kind of normally did, but like by the waters, because then we had all the basics down.
Yeah.
And could go out and do the other things we need to do.
Yeah. It does feel, too, like a game that benefits from the multiplayer experience over the single player. Because I can see where there's many different elements to those missions where you can delineate those out through several players really easy. Yeah. Feels like it was made more for a multiplayer game, in my opinion, than a single player. Which is fine. It's fine. I just note when things feel like a multiplayer game. I recently was doing some playthroughs of some demos, and there was one that I played as a single player where I was like going, this is definitely made to be a multiplayer, not a single player, because you could tell. You could tell how they've structured this game. It's like, you planned on having many people playing this. Okay. But okay, great. So that's your number 2.
Yes.
I'd take a wild stab at what your number 1 is, but do you think you have an idea what my number 1 would be?
Oh, Lord. I want to say it's probably a Souls-like at this point.
You're right about that.
It's probably Elden Ring.
It's not a bad guess. It is Dark Souls Remastered.
Oh, I should have said that I said it for the last one.
You did, and I was like, that's probably gonna come back, isn't it?
You have this unhealthy obsession with trying Dark Souls.
Darth Souls, yeah, I have Darth Souls fatigue. It's this weird thing with me and FromSoft where I keep going, I should like these games. I don't know why they constantly frustrate me. It makes sense that I would like these games, and so I keep trying them. But this is one of those cases where finally, somehow, I actually got a hang of Dark Souls, and I tried different things in Dark Souls. That was the big thing. I tried it again with a dexterity build. The dexterity build was fine. I got a little bit further, but I still let me just mod this. I just want to see what the rest of the game world looks like by becoming a god, so I can just see what the world looks like. So I just tooled around to just see what the world of Dark Souls was, to see the level design mostly. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I got a feel for what the world looks like. But what eventually happened is I saw a video online. Is this build so powerful? And I watched them do it, and I was like, no, that can't be real. I was like, it can't be real that trivializes so much of Dark Souls. But anyway, I had to test it out for myself, and it was the pyromancy build.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that there's something that I've never really done in Souls games, is that I never really understood the magic systems, or anything like that, and that maybe I should try them out. And pyromancy is actually a really easy one that doesn't really have any inherent intelligence or faith requirements. And so I tried the pyromancy build, and I was like going, this is stupid. It got to the point where I was like, okay, I wanted to do a no grind mod just so that it took less time to get up in levels, but I was still able to beat the game without like doing damage reductions or anything like that. I could still do that. I just needed to get crafting supplies and level up faster. But I did that. I tried sorceries too. Now I'm actually doing Dark Souls 2, which I played on stream. And again, it's like, I'm just gonna see if I can use spells. And, yeah, man, I tried it with Elden Ring too. And it's like, oh, these encounters feel a lot easier when you can throw spells at them. And especially when you just throw fireballs. So anyway, the reason why 21% of my playtime and 56 sessions account for my Dark Souls Remastered play is because of multiple characters that I was trying different things in. And now I have a pretty good idea of the framework of the game. So if I were to go in and
there you go.
Play regardless, I'd be like, oh, it's this area, it's this area. The other thing that I also tried to is, just out of curiosity, I wanted to try the Daughters of Ash mod, which was... It's fine. It doesn't really add much to the game, but it changes the order of operation that you would go through to get from point A to point B. So I wouldn't normally recommend people... It doesn't, like, expand the world in the way that you'd normally think. It does add some things so that your encounters are different. But yeah, if you're having trouble with Souls games, or at least the FromSoft ones, just do yourself a favor. Throw some spells at them. You throw some spells at those enemies, and boy howdy, the Great Wolf Sith. I had a conflagration. Just throws giant spires of fire up into outer space, basically. And I got underneath Sif, and I cast that, and it took down practically half his health immediately.
Well, you know, he doesn't need that health. He wasn't using it.
No, well, he certainly didn't need it once I was done. But I was at that point where I was like, man, for everything that people tell me about FromSoft and their game design, which I've always, had thoughts on, for some reason they then looked at magic and was like, nah, we're gonna make this so stupid, it's not... we're gonna...
See, I think if you wanted to try a good FromSoft game that would be different for you, you need to try Armored Core 6. So.
I figured you'd say that, because I know that's one you've actually played. I might have to.
I need to go back to it at some point.
I'm now trying, like, as soon as, like, I'm playing Dark Souls 2, I have used exactly 0 mods on it. I'm through a lot of the game. I'm sure I have a few areas left. It's for the most part doable, the way that it's laid out. It does make me curious about, of course, Dark Souls 3, which I've never touched.
Well,
at all.
I think you should wait on that and do Armored Core 6
Armored Core,
first.
maybe? Okay.
Yep, because it's so different, but it's still like a FromSoft game,
Yeah.
so it still has some of that stuff, but I think it's way more interesting. I got it because I was like, oh, mechs, and I like mechs, and then, like, it's different, but it is difficult. It is, there are parts that are very difficult, but we've talked about it.
I'm thinking the last one that I actually played that was like a mech game was Titanfall 2. I really should go back and play it because I was so impressed with the fluidity of it, even in the multiplayer sessions where you could do the PvP, because I tried some of those and I was like, whoa, this is so smooth and fast, even in the multiplayer, and it's so dynamic. Just like getting into your giant mechs and the energy runs out and you get out of it. I was like, oh man, this is impressive. I wish they'd let Respawn just make another one of those instead of putting them on other projects. That'd be great. You got your number 1. I got my number 1.
You didn't. I didn't tell you my number.
Oh,
1
I was just gonna say. I was like, did you say your number 1? I didn't think so.
It did not.
I thought it was gonna be Armored Core because you just talked about it. But I'm going to take a guess that it's No Man's Sky.
It is No Man's Sky.
Hey.
19% of my playtime with 57 sessions.
Hey, there we go. No Man's Sky still holding up after all this time, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's better than it ever was, so...
Every time I end up going back into it, I'm like, whoa, they've added stuff. They put new stuff in this. Did you do the Iron Man run?
Permadeath, yes. I made a
Permadeath.
Permadeath character and got him to the center of the galaxy for the achievement.
Yes.
After that, I converted him to just a normal character. Because, like, at that point, getting to the only thing that's gonna kill me is if I accidentally, like, do something stupid.
Sure.
And I just made a copy of the save and converted that to a normal playthrough.
Oh, sure.
Because then it would let me actually have a normal-sized inventory.
Yeah.
Which was really what I did it for.
Sure.
But, like, once you've made it that many hours and that many expeditions on a character, you are familiar enough with the combat and the not dying on planets enough.
Oh, sure.
That, again, the only thing that's going to kill you is, like, if you accidentally fall from an extremely high height and do not catch yourself.
I think one of the great comeback stories of video gaming, really. After a very, very poor launch, Hello Games definitely made good on basically every promise and then some of what they wanted the game to be. So, yeah, great game, a lot of great exploration to it, and so much stuff to do.
Right.
Endless.
And like
Mm-hmm.
I only have one more achievement, so I will go back and play more of that this year probably, but the achievement I need to get is purely just time spent on planets that have extreme weather while not in my ship. So I need to spend like 12 hours just like hanging around not dying.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually pretty easy. It's just a time commitment. That's
right,
all.
which is the only reason I haven't done it yet. So after I get that one, I will have 100%ed No Man's Sky.
Nice. So let me think. What else is on the Steam replay that I would like to mention? Oh, right. That spider graph. I was going to say.
Ah, yes.
I'll talk about the spider graph.
There's also, I think, if you have it, the new, recent, and classic games, so your breakdown percentage-wise,
Yes,
if you have that.
I do have that, too.
My new releases was 36%.
Okay.
14% is the average, the percentage of playtime spent by all Steam users and new releases is 14%.
Okay.
My recent favorites was 37%, which is games that have been released in the last 1 to 7 years.
Okay.
Steam's is 44%. And classic games are 8 or more years is 27%. I think that would classify as No Man's Sky in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. What do I have? Recent games, 68%. So that's my biggest. That's my biggest.
Almost nice.
Almost, yeah. The new ones, which is just games released in 2025, that's 22%. That's just 22%. And then my classic games from 8 years or more, that's 10%. And that's probably me getting a Steam sale for really old games and going back and trying them out. Spider graph, yeah, right below that. This is basically a graph of our most played categories.
I'm so glad you didn't say genre, and you'll find out why.
I have some fascinating ones on here. The pinpoint that's here, like way out in front, it says Souls-like.
The biggest one?
Yeah, my biggest spike. And then it looks like space, and then pirates, and then it looks like mythology, and then western, and for some reason dog.
Wobble Dogs.
Maybe Wobble Dogs, yeah. or other things where there is a dog involved at all, it probably gets tagged as dog.
You just got that dog in you.
I just have that dog in me.
I'm gonna do this the other way around. I'm gonna go from the smallest to the biggest. So the smallest, dwarf, which might be from Dwarf Fortress, and it might be from like Deep Rock Galactic, which I tried but didn't really care for.
Yeah. Okay.
So following that up was mechs, because last year I played a ton of Mech Warrior.
Yep.
5 Mercenaries and some Armored Core, and I've played some other games with mechs in them, so that's probably where that comes from.
Sure.
Surprisingly for you, probably, the next is MMORPG.
Oh, okay.
Just because, from Where Winds Meet, and I also just like to try MMOs because I do, in general, like a lot of things they do, but like I just constantly am trying new ones to see what they're doing.
Sure.
After that was turn-based combat.
Oh, that's an interesting.
Yep,
that's an odd one that I didn't expect.
Right. I don't play a lot of them, but it was probably from Expedition 33, which we might touch on later.
Sure. Yeah.
And then hunting, I play a lot of Call of the Wild.
Okay. Yep.
Off and on. That's just a game I enjoy playing with Crave, and so we both get a lot of time.
Sure.
In that game.
Absolutely.
And then the biggest one of mine, and I'm glad you didn't say genre. Is Warhammer 40k.
Warhammer 40k. I mean, I feel like that is
Yeah.
kind of a genre all of its own, but feels like Warhammer's become a genre.
It has massively exploded in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like way above what it ever was, and it's wild.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. Why all of a sudden it became like a huge thing? I don't know.
There's some videos on that. I need to listen to some of them.
Oh, sure.
I think it's in part due to some animations, like the secret level episode that happened with 40k, and then like the Space Marine 2 came out to huge fanfare, and then you've got other things as well, like just new editions and books and all of that stuff. So
Sure.
there's just a lot.
Yeah.
That's happened, I guess, and it's just pushed that into not even like Henry Cavill, like
Oh, sure.
being like, I want to make a 40k live action show, and people are like, yes, let's do this, you fucking nerd.
Yeah. Really, whatever Henry Cavill wants to do, go for it. I think
So it's kind
most
of
people are good with that.
yeah. So like 40k has just like entered the cultural, like, this is a thing that people actually like and do and care about, and I'm like, why was I into this before everyone else was, and now I'm not as into it, but I'm back into it
Yeah.
a bit, but I'm working on maybe playing the game part. Who knows?
Who knows?
But, oh yeah, Rogue Trader also is on there because I played a ton of that, and again, that's the issue I have with CRPGs, which is just pacing.
Yeah. Did Rogue Trader at least do a little bit better job with pacing?
No, it's still a novel.
Still a novel, yeah.
Yep. I need less novel between my action sequences, or I get bored.
They need to do something a little bit closer to what they did with like a Half-Life, right? Where it's like the storyline comes while you are still doing things in the game.
Yeah, I need like a Diablo-like, I
Yeah.
think, which would be like Inquisitor Martyr, but like,
Right.
I don't, a little better.
Right.
Like I do have like 700 hours in that game, but you know,
Yeah.
just something a little different.
I feel like there's really good ways to do narrative without just stopping everything and sitting there to tell a tale of a fateful ship. You should be able to do that a little bit more dynamically in the game. In some places,
I think something akin to Space Marine 2
yes,
and Space Marine, but with more RPG elements to them would be something I would really enjoy.
Sure.
For 40K.
Sure. So yeah, that's Spider-Graph. Apparently you liked a lot of Warhammer stuff. I liked a lot of Souls-like games. I also played and did a lot where I played demos of other Souls games just to see what they did. And some of them were fine, and some of them I didn't care that much about. But just generally.
That's how I do the MMOs. So
yeah.
So it's not demos. They're like I try all the free-to-play ones, and I'm like, is this good? Is this bad? And I'm like, this is something.
It tells me a little bit more about a couple other games that I had played past, like Above Snakes. Apparently, I played about 6% of my playtime was for Starcom Unknown Space, and 6% was for a game called Sea Blip, which is again just a silly little game, but you start playing it and you just go, you just don't stop. You just keep going.
Yeah.
Demos, though, I think I play so many demos. I'm actually going to be starting a series. I've already started recording it for, like, over on Titanium Mine, but one I'm calling Overly Demotional, which is actually where I actively in-game talk about game demos while I'm trying game demos. And this year, apparently, 49 demos.
Holy cow.
For me.
That's a lot.
Boy howdy, is it. Some of these ones that I played for quite a bit, because like Game of Thrones King's Road, I didn't get the game, but the demo itself was very extensive. Storage Hunter Simulator, they're saying 17% of my demo time apparently was that. But then again, I did get that game too. First Berserker Kazan, there's my Souls-like again. Yeah, so things like that. A lot of demos. And
I only played 23 demos.
Oh, okay. Alright. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of seek out demos a lot of the time. Where I'll just be like going, what has demos? What looks interesting? Is there a demo so that I can just play it whenever they're doing sale? And then I'll try it. Sometimes even if I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be into this, but this looks at least interesting enough that I'd like to see what it is in practice, you know. Peripetia, I remember I played some of, because that kind of billed itself as a little bit of like an immersive sim that had similarity to like a Deus Ex and those kinds of things. And Dishonored had kind of like that feel. So I was like, I'll try out the demo, and I was like, yeah, I guess in practice this doesn't really feel as good, but it sounded good on paper. Glad I played the demo. Games should always have demos, by the way.
Yes.
I'm of the mindset you always should have demos. I think it also helps with your Steam reviews, because then people can play the demo before they get in there and go, I don't like this game. And then leave a nasty review like, I didn't like this game. Why did this game suck? You know?
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, you don't have to do that. There's a demo.
Yeah. There's just a demo. Go play the demo. See if you like it.
So that was kind of our Steam year in review.
Yeah.
Going from that, did you want to get into the save bear reboot aspect?
Yes, we definitely
Which
should.
You can probably briefly explain for anyone who's listening and doesn't know what the hell we're talking about.
Oh, sure. So for the last, many years, actually, we have had a tradition on the show where we do Save, Bury, Reboot, and this basically means that in this last year, we're going to pick a game that we believe should be saved. Like, you got to put it in a museum. Like, you got to save this for posterity. One game that we'd like to bury, which means that it probably should go in the landfill along with the ET cartridges. It's usually what we say. And then one that we would reboot, which basically means it's the kind of game that felt good on paper, but really needs a revamp in order for it to be good. And then the rules that we've kind of put down in the last few years is it doesn't have to be a game that came out in 2025. It just has to be a game that we actively played in 2025. So it can be one of those.
Maybe we didn't pick it up until 2025. And we're like, you know. I'm
usually late to the party. And then also sometimes you'll see classic games and you'll go, oh, okay, I never played this when I got a chance. There are some games where it's like I never played them when they originally came out. Always heard about them, never had an opportunity, happened to pick it up, and then it's like, oh, wow, okay. Now I know what this was about. So, I think we should probably do saves first. We usually start with saves. Sometimes I save berries till the end. But, would you like to do a save?
Sure. Mine is a real quick, easy, simple save. I'm not sure if you're gonna guess it or not.
Ooh, I have to guess it or not?
I doubt you're gonna guess it. You could.
Oh, you doubt I'm gonna guess it? Oh, well then...
You might.
Then
you
you're
might,
probably
you
right.
could.
I probably will not guess it.
Go ahead and try if you wanted to. You don't have to. This isn't a guessing game.
Ooh. Yeah, I can't think of it.
Cool. So for me, the game I would save that I played this year is actually still from this year, which is fine. But there's the only reason it would need to be put in a museum is because of how successful it is at this point,
Sure.
And that would be Expedition 33.
Oh, okay.
And like it goes without saying that it goes beyond what is thought of as a good game at this point. And again, we can discuss that a little bit later because I think I want to talk to you a little bit about the Game Awards. So
yeah, I tried some of Expedition 33. I think I played maybe like 3 or 4 hours, and I think the only reason why I wasn't playing more at the time is like I was like, this is going to be an investment, isn't it?
it definitely is.
But the thing that I find interesting is you had just talked about the idea of like Rogue Trader being like a novel, and it does feel like Expedition 33 is a very narrative-heavy game.
It is, but here's the big difference between something like an Expedition 33, which is more of an action RPG, even though it's turn-based, and a narrative RPG, is that everything in it is basically voice acted.
Oh, yeah.
And all of your narrative elements are big set pieces and voice acted, and there's cutscenes, and it's much more traditional storytelling in that way, instead of going, here's 12 pages of dialogue for you to read.
Well, then, I understand that. It's just, I'm kind of... It is kind of surprising, because I went in there and I was like, boy, there's just a lot. There's going to be a lot here, isn't there? I'm going to say that it's probably not going to be very surprising what my save is for this year. And it's a game that came out this last year, and frankly, I think that it's the game of the year for me. And it is Blueprints. It's going to be Blueprints. That's not going to surprise.
That's fair.
I mean, you and I played it for several sessions. I think that you were intrigued by it, at least. Maybe might not have been necessarily your type of game, but there's a lot of really interesting things that it does. I have not played a puzzle game that engaging in a really long time, and I think the way that they built it, where it has those roguelike elements, keeps you coming back and discovering new things. I can tell you from playing it through getting to room 46 and then playing it beyond room 46, I can tell you that there's just so many aspects and secrets and like the way you uncover things. When you were talking about the problem with like reading a novel, Blueprints fixes that by actively having you participate and interact with the game to uncover the story and the characters while you're actively playing it and finding out this stuff on your own. And it just kind of like encourages you to go there and leads you there and expand this world out. I can never say enough good about it. It really is wonderful. I found out that this is like a very small team that worked on this for like 8 years. And when you look at what it did, it looks so good. It sounds so good. It plays so well. It felt like a real polished product at the end of it. And all the praise to the world for them to be able to do it. They probably, because of how much time and attention and work it was, probably will never see a sequel to it, I doubt. Which is, again, the reason why I really feel like it has to be saved for posterity. I would say it's up there with the great puzzle games like Myst. And in some ways it is more engaging and interactive than a Myst because of how they made the game. But you constantly just uncover things. It's just... I won't talk anymore about it, but really, yeah, Blueprints, I would suggest it to really, even if people don't like puzzle games, I would say that you might really like Blueprints regardless because of how they built the game. And the structure of it. Always uncovering things, always finding new and interesting things around the corners. It surprised me so many times, which is something that it's hard for games to do for me now. Sometimes you'll have like one or two good twists. Blueprints constantly twists and gives you like new framing for the world that you're in. And so yeah, Blueprints. I'm actually kind of curious about your reboot.
It's a berry reboot, so it's my berry.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to do berries first? We'll do berry. We'll do it in order.
Yeah, berry. There's so many games I tried this year, too.
Yeah.
So it's like picking one that I would just throw in a landfill is a little bit harder. Just because there's so much more nuance to it. Man, it might just be Deep Rock Galactic. I just didn't vibe.
Yeah.
I just didn't vibe with it, and I probably would have been different had I tried it with players. But like, it's just not a gameplay loop I really cared too much about. And I know if Adam's listening, he's gonna be very disappointed. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But like,
Deep Rock Galactic also, it feels like another one of those games where it works better as a multiplayer than a single player. Because I tried it too.
Yeah.
And
it probably does. And I just didn't play with anyone.
Yeah.
And that's on me. I don't play a lot of games with a lot of people. The other choice I would have put for Barry would have been Grand Theft Auto 5, because I tried that and didn't really vibe with it.
Wow.
I was like, this just isn't what I expected from how much people fucking glow the game up.
Were you playing the single player? I'm gonna guess you were playing.
Yeah, I tried the single player, and I also tried GTA Online.
Yep.
I got the entire game on sale really cheap. I was like, maybe this is interesting, and I was just like, this is just no better than like freaking San Andreas. In some parts probably worse.
The thing is that I played GTA 5 when it first came out, and I played through to it to the end. The story's fine. I liked switching between the characters, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's like so many GTA games are going to just get compared to San Andreas at the end of the day, and they're not going to hold up.
You know what I think makes a better GTA game?
What?
Cyberpunk.
Yes, I agree with you on that. Cyberpunk is a really good GTA game. It's
like if you gave me Cyberpunk Theft Auto, like instead, that would be so good.
Cyber Theft Auto. Just do that.
Cyber Theft Auto.
That would be great. Cyberpunk. Probably one of those games that I would have originally said reboot, but by the time I played it, it was definitely a save. We need to protect this at all costs. I have Phantom Liberty too. I have not played that yet, but I do have to play that at some point. Okay, so my berry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it. It's Moonlighter 2.
Oh, really? I haven't picked that up, but it looked so different than the first that I was really unsure.
This is the main reason why. So it's technically called Moonlighter 2: The Endless Vault. It is not structured at all like the first game. The first game, as you probably remember, was kind of Zelda-like. You know, you'd go and you'd find a bunch of materials, a bunch of stuff. You'd be treasure hunting and everything, and there'd be different rooms in these vaults, and you'd have to figure out how to puzzle your way, essentially, to unlock the different rooms and places, and then you'd battle a boss at the end. What they did with Moonlighter 2 is they turned it more into like a roguelike, where you go into one level, there's going to be enemies to fight, you fight those enemies, and you get to the end of that part, and then there's like one of those trees where you can pick what the next thing is that you go to as you go down a line, similar to you played a little bit of Inscription. You know how they do those battles where it's like after you beat this boss or this enemy, you have multiple pathways you can go down, that kind of structure to the next challenge. Okay, that's the structure that they used for Moonlighter 2. And the idea is that you're going to keep getting better, stuff to sell, essentially, back at home as you keep going down until you beat the final boss, and then that will potentially unlock another area that you can go and collect more loot. So it's completely different. It's very combat heavy, combat oriented, not really much on puzzles or detail. It's kind of randomly generated, and I didn't like the loot system because in the original Moonlighter, they had a loot system where you could get just stacks of these different things, and then you could go and sell them in spots, and they replaced that with everything needing an individual spot in your inventory. So I can only pick up, like, even once I expand my inventory, I think there's like maybe 30 or 40 spots, so there's just 30 or 40 things that I can pick up. There's no way to stack those or anything so that I can sell multiples, and then you have to individually place all of them in your shop, and you have to be there because no one else is going to run your shop while you're away adventuring.
Right.
And then they try to do this thing where, depending on where things are in the grid, it will, like, enhance the value or interact with other things around it. And it's like, you're turning the micromanaging of the inventory into a game feature instead of an annoyance that I have to get around to play the game.
Right.
Where now, actually, no, rearranging your inventory is a gameplay element.
So it becomes inventory management.
It becomes a worse version of Backpack Hero.
Right.
Because in Backpack Hero, they actually use the backpack as combat for how you're laying things out, and they use it for the active combat. This is real-time combat where you're hacking and slashing away at these enemies, and then you collect all the stuff and have to figure out how to lay it out to best increase the value of things, so you can get some more money and go back to the village and get more upgrades so that you can try and deal with the next battle. And some of the bosses are also very stupidly powerful. And if you lose to them, you lose, like, a lot of your equipment or a lot of your stuff that you've gotten, and have to, like, go home with basically nothing. So it has these negative gameplay loops. I was not impressed. I understand that it is still kind of in early access, but I really don't feel like in its state it should have been released, because it feels very, very unfinished. I am very interested to know what your reboot would be, though.
Oh boy, I'm looking through, like, all the games I played.
Sure.
This one's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's like, what game would be better if they just did a better version of it?
Sure.
You know?
Do you want, while you're thinking about it, do you want me to do mine? I could do mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm gonna, this is an interesting choice, I think, for me. But I'm gonna actually say Anemoiopolis. And
oh, really?
The reason why is, it's not that Anemoiopolis is a bad game, but I would have really liked to see a version of this, if they went back and redid it, where the game is actually complete, and there's, like, a full, like, story and walkthrough to it, instead of doing chapter 1 and then never getting a chapter 2. I feel like that's the kind of game that's open for a reboot, but I kind of feel like they have to reboot the whole thing in order to do that now. Where they would have to start from scratch. And you know what? If they're in the process of doing that, and they're creating the liminal space, redo it in, like, an Unreal 5 engine. You know, really make that look super crisp, and make those environments really pop. I think that having, like, that photorealistic kind of, like, thing that they can do with Unreal, but having it in the world of Anemoiopolis would be very immersive. And then, just structure it out, pace it a little bit more so that it's a full game, and it holds your attention for that whole game. Maybe try to help with the lead-through of a couple of those more boring sections, like the conference center. But mostly, the reason why I say that is because it really just never ended up being a full game. It got the first chapter, and then it never actually finished. So if they rebooted it, maybe they could actually reboot it as an actual full single game in its entirety.
Maybe they could.
But yeah, that's the reason why I would reboot Animiopolis.
That's fair. That's very fair.
So have you thought of one?
Let me look back over here again. I believe I have, and I think it's a game you've played this year as well, or picked up. I think I saw you had played it. And you're probably gonna go, what? Because it's just what you do.
Okay, great.
I would say, for me, a reboot of Graveyard Keeper.
What? No, I get that.
Because on the face, it sounds like a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
But I just can't get behind the pace. Not the same type of pacing as like a CRPG does.
Yeah.
But like the speed at which everything happens and the amount of things you have to do.
Yes.
In that, it's like I'm looking for something that's maybe not a Stardew like, but you know, it's supposed to be a similar game in that vein.
Oh sure.
You know.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with the bodies and the talking head and tending to the graveyard. But there's so much you need to do, and like walking to town is so fucking slow.
It is. It's slow. The thing is, I have played a lot of Graveyard Keeper recently. I'm actually kind of surprised that it didn't show up as one that I played as many hours as I have.
It reminds me of when you were talking a while ago about Little Witch in the Woods.
Yes.
Where you were like, it's just slogs.
It is. It is a huge slog. Yes.
And that to me is Graveyard Keeper, because I want to like what it is.
Yes.
And I want to like what it does, but the slog.
I'll help you out. What Graveyard Keeper has is a scaling issue. Because at first, when you're starting to play, with a lot of these games, they have some basic tasks for you to complete, and you don't have a ton of things that you're doing. And so you're like going along and kind of going, okay, so I prepare this one body in Graveyard Keeper, and I can take things out. Okay, I get that. But the problem is that with like a Stardew Valley, that knows how to scale things up so it can automate certain things. It can make things easier and simpler so that you can deal with more complex systems later. Graveyard Keeper doesn't. So what happens is that now you have like 4 bodies. You have to prepare each one of those and figure out where you're going to bury each one of those. And you have to do that whole process for each one of them, or they're just going to sit on a slab in the morgue. And and you have to go through the process of like making every single one of these things, and it doesn't get simpler or automate out. And so you're constantly just fighting with this thing that felt like it was a bunch of work to do, I now have to do far more often. And that, I think, is the biggest problem with Graveyard Keeper. Because the idea is great, but you are right about this, is that it does take just so long to end up doing things, especially once you start getting into the game proper and not just, like, the initial stages. Do you get to the part, like, where you're, like, putting people in the gravestones and you're burying people in the grave part?
I think so. I think I've done a little bit of
that. Yeah, the thing is that then if you want to take somebody out, you then have to, like, take off the surround, take off the headstone, then you have to uninter them, and you have to do everything over and over again, to the point where, like, I was playing it a lot, and I wanted to keep playing it, but I was also falling asleep playing it.
Which is not ideal if you're playing a game.
No, it really isn't ideal at all. So yeah, I totally understand. I think Graveyard Keeper could have benefited greatly from being able to pace better in the long game. Because really, after the first few hours, you start to realize that it's not going to bother doing that. No, I agree with you on that. So yeah, I guess that was our Save Berry reboot. We should probably touch on the Game Awards, though.
Yes. We all understand the Game Awards is just a joke most of the time.
Probably.
I think.
Yep.
And we don't really put a lot of stock into it
Yes.
because we don't care.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, we just don't care about what the industry thinks is great or not.
Right.
But this year was really interesting. This year was fascinating to me.
Yes. I think the thing that's really odd is that for all intents and purposes, I think everyone had kind of come to an agreement at the beginning before we ever got into it that Expedition 33 was probably going to take the top spot for Game of the Year.
Probably.
We were...
Well, we weren't sure, because it could have been more recency bias with something that came out
true.
that was like, hey, this game is definitely going to get Game of the Year.
It's true.
Or something, because,
It's true.
You know?
And then, like, not just Game Awards, but so many award places kind of shunned it entirely because of accusations that they used AI. Yeah.
It's whatever. They allegedly used some generative AI as just placeholder stuff to like concept art, and I don't think that's a giant like, oh god, how could you do this thing?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't use it in the game. They kind of had it as placeholders, and they got rid of it. So like, whatever.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like Gen AI,
Yeah.
I also don't think you should be like, oh, how dare you, just because they tried it when it was popular.
Right.
Like, that was a couple years ago when Gen AI had just come out before there was
before there was pushback too, and like, I guess I would have liked them to not do that, but at the same time, I also feel like it undercuts so much of the actual hard work that everybody on the team did to make that game because of any use of AI, which ends up not being like, if it had just been an AI project, it would not have been that good. It had so much to do with the people that actually built that game. I understand why people don't want to go around and give awards to games that utilize it. Even the accusations of what they did, frankly, doesn't really feel like much more than what you could do before AI was even involved with just like a random generator. Like, it doesn't feel like a huge aggrievement where they would be like, oh no, are we undercutting the industry by using this? I don't think there was any kind of intent there to harm the industry. The other one that also got kind of sidelined, which I think is unfortunate, is that there was some possibility that the alters had used some AI in order to like do some generation there too, in I think pretty much a similar form to like what happened with Expedition 33. And again, I get that, but at the same time, the alters is a really unique concept that AI wouldn't have just come up with. It's got a lot of nuance and personality to it, and that's not something that could just be created out of thin air. I do kind of hate the fact... I feel more bad for the teams that worked on the game. Their work is now undercut because there was AI used in early stages of the game development. Which undercuts what they actually did do. Which was a lot of work. Like, there was a lot of work and a lot of care put in by a lot of actual people. And I really wish that there was something that you could do to at least acknowledge that. It's probably not going to be in game.
As much as I personally, I'm a huge, like, I dislike generative AI and all the stuff it's doing. Like, I generally... Yeah, keep it out of art, because it's whatever. But, like, again, when these games were being made, it was still in its infancy and nowhere near what people are trying to do with it now. And, like, it was such a moral, like, not even gray area, just kind of a curiosity at that point where I can't... I can't be like, oh, how dare they use AI in 2019 generatively to come up with stuff. We didn't know what was going to happen with it. No one did. That was like, the industry was like, hey, this is a thing. is it going to be useful or not? And it turns out people really fucking hate it.
I feel like it undercuts the actual human work, which is also the problem that happens with AI, is that it can undercut the actual human element. But those games like the Alters, like Expedition 33, did have a lot of human work that was put into it. A lot of people actually worked on it as a creative pursuit, and it is really unfortunate that early development using AI then undercuts all of that too. Because the whole purpose of, at least I say, the whole purpose of art should be about human expression. And what human expression can do to convey ideas. And that's the big reason I don't like AI, is because it's not human. And when it's trying to create art, it's not doing so from an emotional core of trying to explain or translate a human experience. It's just being a stochastic parrot of shooting back a bunch of ideas that it aggregated from the web. Which is the reason why I don't consider AI to be art. Because for that very reason.
That all being said, though, going back to our point about the Game Awards and Expedition 33, not necessarily this AI stuff.
Yes.
Did you expect them to sweep the fucking Game Awards, winning 9 awards?
Was it Expedition 33 that actually won 9 Game Awards?
Yes, they won 9.
Wow.
They won almost every category they were nominated for. I think there was one they didn't. And they also had the best, 3 out of the 4 people, or 3 out of the 6 people maybe, that were nominated as best, actors in video games.
Yes.
Were from Expedition 33.
Yep. I do understand why, because I think that what they built with that game really resonated with people. Especially for a game that doesn't really have a pre-existing franchise or anything. It's just it's brand new IP. To be able to have that kind of sway out of the gate, I think is good. I like it when new game IPs and series get props instead of sequels. I have heard that the Game Awards usually will try to reward new IPs and properties when they can over existing ones.
Yes, and that is one of the categories they won, was best indie game because they're an independent studio, but also best breakthrough first game or whatever the award was, first game of a publisher.
Sure.
Because it was their first game. So they won that. They won the Game of the Year. So they won best soundtrack maybe even.
Yeah.
I think the only one they lost out on was sound design to Battlefield maybe.
Oh yeah.
Because Battlefield is literally a game where you need to have really good sound design.
Yes, you do. You do.
That being said, Nathan, you need to go and actually play more than just a couple hours. Once you get off the once you actually proper start the expedition and get to where you're going, the pacing and the tone, and I'm not gonna spoil it because it's huge.
Yeah.
Everything that you had going into it just is rocked.
The place where I think I was at was I had gotten to the expedition. So I got off the initial area where Expedition 33 actually happens. And then you get that great piece that we don't have to talk about, but that great piece the second you actually start the expedition where you're like, oh, this seems like it's going to be bad. And then started to go into the actual lands that are out there. And so I did get the initial oh, okay, so we're telling that kind of a story.
Yeah, but it gets really good.
Was there anything else about the Game Awards? Because I didn't watch them myself.
I didn't watch them. I just saw the recap and was like, holy shit, they won 9 awards? That's insane.
Yeah.
They actually it is the game that has now won the most awards in a single Game Awards.
Oh, nice.
Beating out The Last of Us 2.
Yep.
By 2 awards.
Yeah. And I'm sure one of them was because they were able to win like best new IP and stuff like that.
And indie studio.
And indie studio, yeah, which Last of Us is not going to get. Yep. Yeah. What would be my biggest takeaway from the last year in gaming? It was actually a pretty good year.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid year in gaming.
Yeah, it's a solid year if you're looking for games that were good. If you purposefully wanted to be mad at games, I'm sure you could find plenty of examples. But then, like, around every corner, it seemed like something came out, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I played a lot of Ball X Pit. I even played Clover Pit for a bit. And, again, these are smaller games from smaller studios, kind of indie titles. But boy, they were doing some interesting things there, and they were making a lot out of the resources that they had. For all of the criticism that I hear every time a AAA game comes out, it's like, well, if you have criticism of the AAA game, don't play those. There's lots of other games, too.
Yes.
And so many of the ones that we've been talking about on this episode, actually, were not AAA games.
Most of them weren't.
No, they weren't. Even when we were talking about Expedition 33 or even like the Alters, those were really AA games, if anything. They were not from these giant studios. And then, like when I'm talking about Blueprints, again, small team, like indie studio projects, most of them are. I don't usually even play a lot of AAA games because I feel like they're going to feel hollow now. But good news, you don't have to, because there's so many options now, and you can go and play those. Yeah, 25 was a good year. I'm trying to think what I would consider to be like the best year in gaming ever. And
who knows?
I want to say it was 15. I want to say it was 2015, but I'd have to go back and look. There were a lot of huge games that came out in 2015. That was like Witcher 3 and also like Fallout 4.
Yeah. I don't particularly know what year I would say was the best year in gaming, because they're all good years. No year can be the best year.
This is true.
My humble opinion.
But yeah, 25 was a good year, and it was filled with, I think, really important, is that it was filled with a lot of unique and interesting and new properties. More than like just pre-existing series putting out another entry. It had a lot of really neat, interesting, new ideas and concepts and like different mechanics that go into it to tell a very different story. Not your bog standard entries, which is a good sign. I don't know if we're even going to be able to see that again. I think if I had one worry about the future of video gaming, like most art forms, is that it will become more reiterative of what was already there. But I don't feel like that was this year at all. It felt surprisingly fresh and interesting every time I turned around and saw the new hotness that was out there. So, yeah. So I guess from Podcast Village, that explains our Steam replay and a little bit about the Game Awards Interstate Berry Reboot, and I hope everybody is having a pretty good start to the beginning of the year. I hope so. And we'll see what 26 has to hold on to, and we'll see what we're playing for 26 as well, because we're still doing a lot of Let's Plays, trying out a lot of different things, and hopefully people are going to enjoy what we have on the docket. Alex, if folks wanted to find out what we're actually playing currently, or find out more episodes that we're doing, where could they go?
You can find us here on our YouTube channel over at Total Pummel Knockdown. or our website, totalbattlenknockdown.com, or on all the podcasting apps known to mankind. Really, honestly, we're everywhere.
We're all over the place. Here just collecting bananas, because that's like our thing. Make thousands of gold just collecting my endless bananas. You think I need more banana trees?
I don't think so.
Okay. It takes me a long time just to harvest the ones I have, so I guess maybe I shouldn't. But, yeah, you can find us all over the place. We also have a public Discord, so if you want to talk to us about video games or tabletop games, which we still do talk about on occasion.
Yeah, we should do some more of that this year.
Yeah, actually, if we make a resolution, we probably should talk about some of the mechanics of tabletop games. Maybe we can find something to play that's kind of like born out of the tabletop genre, or something of that to kind of contrast that, or the mechanics. We'll see what we can do. I think we have machinations to do some shorter games that are just kind of atmospheric, not necessarily even in a horror way. But then we also wanted to do some longer series, similar to what we did with Voices of the Void. And we're just trying to figure out, like, what we might want to play and who might be the one in the hot seat for that.
Just more Voices of the Void, obviously.
Obviously, that's going to be what's going to happen. We're not done with it, in case anyone's wondering. But we have stepped away from it for a minute, for some other things. But we're not done with it. So, yeah, I guess with that being said, Alex, anything else that we should add at the end here?
We hope you had a wonderful 2025. Hopefully, maybe 2026 will be even better. Can't get worse. It can't get worse from here.
You might not want to say that. I don't know if we want to say that, because it feels like we're tempting fate by saying that. And I guess from all of us here at Total Purple Knockdown, thank you for joining us here on Podcast Village. We will see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye from the mine.
Of craft.
No, I mean, I'm down in the mines.
Oh, but also the game is Minecraft, so...
Yeah.
That also tracks. Okay, bye.
Bye.